Let's do this.
This is my journey to Jay's Power Center to go trade in my CB500F for my upgrade. When I did trade this bike in, I was only at 2,000 miles, but it was something that I've been meaning to do, to trade. Not because it was like, oh, I outgrew the bike, but simply I wanted a bike that was a little bit more comfortable. So I was looking at sport touring bikes and something that can take for a longer distance without it constantly, making my body ache a little bit. So this is my journey to go trade my CB500F for a Tiger Sport 660. First stop, just to top off before doing a 3-hour ride. Just a bit more context on this bike. I got the CB500F back in February of this year, and I honestly enjoyed it, loved it. Took it out on, I want to say, semi-long journeys. Nothing crazy, but definitely, got more miles under my belt. And when I did end up trading this in, I ended up with only 2,000, which I know is not a lot, but given that I only rode the bike for, a few months, I was pretty proud of, having 2,000 miles on this bike. I won't be showing the entire ride. It was a 3-hour ride, and honestly my battery died kind of quite early in the ride, and I didn't really want to just pull over just to change it, simply because it was early morning. I think I left around 5 or 6 in the morning. The sun wasn't even fully up. It was still pretty dark when I left, so didn't get everything recorded, but definitely just wanted to show a little bit of the adventure. This ride was quite nerve-wracking too, honestly. Never really gone like almost 200 miles out away from home, especially by myself. Usually I end up riding with my other friends who started with me, so it's a little bit of that comfort of knowing that, hey, if I get stranded, I have someone who can at least help me get out of the situation. But definitely, I'm proud that I was able to make this journey, just kind of going out by myself and kind of really just riding my bike without caring and just enjoying myself. Also being able to leave early morning and just seeing the sunrise, it's actually a really nice feeling that I don't think I really understood how nice it was to be on the bike and seeing that. As I mentioned, my camera did die, and this was about I think an hour and a half into the ride. Pulled over just to kind of, fuel up, get ready to continue the journey. But topped off, ready to head out again, change the battery so I can record more. And something I didn't realize is that when you're kind of just cruising for even 30 minutes and you're not really doing anything besides holding the throttle steady, your hand kind of starts to freeze, like get frozen, because I couldn't finesse the throttle. I kept opening and closing it. I was chopping the throttle a lot. Even my clutch hand was kind of slow, so when I was actually trying to take off from the light to go to the gas station, I kind of slowed the clutch hand, so I can actually rev bombed without intentionally doing it. And I wish I had it recorded, but camera battery was dead, so kind of sucks, but yeah, something to learn. Yeah, as you can see, I realize how important it is to have gloves that has really nice phone sensitivity touch. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Because I accidentally upped the volume. I got that notification of hey, you're going past the safety noise level. And you kind of had to hit the I understand button so that it goes away. And it sucked because I couldn't really see my map. I couldn't really see the speed limit, which I know I'm not supposed to be looking at my phone. And I can look at my, speedometer. But I like seeing, on Google Maps, that little speed limit, just so I know, how I can adjust myself. And, like I said, I shouldn't be focusing on that. I should be focusing on the road and just keep my eyes forward, but it gives me a bit of comfort just knowing that. So, when this happened, it sucked, and you can see me kind of panicking. Not panicking per se, but trying to get it off my screen. after a few more hours of riding, I finally was getting closer to the dealer. I think there was still 20 minutes left, but this is when I actually pulled off the highway to take the smaller roads and the back roads to get there. But I kind of wish I would have pulled over earlier to, you know, top off and change my camera battery, because not too long after I pulled off the highway, my camera actually died, so I didn't really get much of that, you know, small road recorded, which kind of sucks because I do kind of like riding those roads. It was pretty nice, pretty open, since it was kind of a back road too. It wasn't too much traffic there, but like I said, you know, I didn't prepare it perfectly, so my camera died not too long after I pulled off. So I actually didn't start recording until I actually already did the trading with the bike, because didn't pull over after the camera died. And once I got to the dealer, I think I was just so tired, you know, after 3 hours of riding, and I was like, you know what, I didn't even care about changing the battery. I just wanted to kind of get it over with. Also because the first time trading, so I was kind of nervous, and I think it just didn't cross my mind to even record anymore. But I got to the dealer, and when I got there, they actually weren't open. I think I got there 20 minutes early, so I was just kind of standing outside the dealer by my bike. You know, I wanted to stand after riding and sitting for that long. And you know, the guy that I talked to over the phone came up to me. We did the paperwork, they checked out the bike. Everything kind of just started going in motion. And before I knew it, they were like, "Oh yeah, we got your bike in the back. Here's the new bike. You can go and do the paperwork, sign here, get all that done." And before I knew it, you know, I was riding the new bike home. And I know this might sound kind of stupid, maybe just for me, or just because it is kind of stupid when I think about it. But I felt like the trade kind of happened so fast that I didn't really get to see my old bike before they kind of just took it. And yeah, maybe I'm just being a little bit sentimental about it, but being my first bike and being something that I finally pushed myself to being like, oh, I'm going to buy a bike this year and actually learn how to ride with no experience prior to it. It was kind of like, I think I grew attached to it because of maybe an emotional attachment to it, being that this is my very first bike. I bought it on my own. No one really forced me to do it. This is my own choosing to do so. And then so when the trade kind of happened so fast, and before I knew it, I was on the Triumph Tiger 660 going home. It felt kind of weird because I was happy and I was excited to be on a new bike, and it felt amazing riding this bike. But part of me was kind of like saddened by how fast the trading kind of happened, and maybe it's just me, but yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. Yeah, so got a Triumph Tiger 660 simply because I think it was something that I've always been eyeing, even when I had my CB500. You know, it's the thing where you have a bike, you keep looking at new bikes, and this was actually a bike that was on my radar. So once I found like a pretty okay deal, and it was almost like I can trade in my bike now before I lose too much value on the CB500, just to help me pay towards this one, and I wouldn't need to upgrade for a while, being that it's a 660. But what I learned is, coming from a 471cc to a 660, it's not that big of a difference, you know, and it's not even like crazy numbers. But I wasn't expecting the power delivery of this bike to be so like strong, because there are moments, as you can see in the clip, where I was kind of getting jerked back because I keep opening the throttle and closing it, and it did scare me. I'm not gonna lie, it did scare me, the fact that it was so strong that I kind of left it in rain mode. I think for this first clip, for like first 20 minutes, I was just in rain mode, did not even want to switch to road mode, simply because I was afraid of how strong road mode actually was. My reasoning, at least, was that I cannot crash this. I just bought it, I have to get home. I cannot crash this bike, because if I do, I would not be able to live with the shame that knowing that, oh, I just bought it, how can I crash it before getting it home? So I was like, stick in rain mode, get home, take it easy, just play it safe. So this was about like an hour into the ride back, and you know I switched out of rain into road mode because I was finally getting on the freeway. And, you know I didn't really want to have that throttle limiter, I guess, if I needed to pull past people. But then I got used to how strong the bike is in road, and it was nice. You know the bike is actually really nice bike. You know, it had like the really nice power delivery. I was able to pull past people. I was able to cruise comfortably in like 6th gear, 5th gear. Not too much vibration, so my feet wasn't like always numb. Eventually, it did get numb just from me, you know, being on the bike for like a long duration of time. But it wasn't like that bad to where it was like, oh, I gotta move, I gotta do this, I gotta stretch, I gotta do everything like every 30 minutes. It was like, oh, I can deal with it. So yeah, that was pretty much the summary of how the trade went, from trading my CB500 to my Tiger Sport 660. Not much interesting things happened because I was just on the freeway for most of the time. Pretty much by the time I was heading back, I was tired, you know, left early in the morning, 3 hours down, did the trade and all that, figured out insurance when I was at the dealer, 3 hours back, and I was kind of done, you know. Even the music I had playing on repeat was just going through the same playlist, and I stopped thinking. I was just kind of cruising to get home at this point. But surprisingly, I didn't go home right away. I actually stopped by my buddy's house first, just to kind of show him the bike and just to kind of, you know, take a breather before going home, because he lived a little bit closer to where I was coming from before I actually went home. And you know, stopped there, and that's where I finally took this photo.